here with Tim Tebow, the former Heisman Trophy winner and, of course, SEC Network analyst. And you guys had a big win against Alabama back in 2008, but in 2009, as a favorite, you also saw Alabama,
Thanks
sneak
for
up.
Bringing that up.
Listen, I hate to bring that memory up, but it is relevant for today's game, Saturday's game, because it's Alabama as an underdog again. And if anybody can speak to how dangerous they can be in that role, I guess it's you.
So dangerous. I think Nick Saban thrives in those moments. I think there's only been one time since that game, and that was when Georgia played Alabama in Athens. I think
Georgia fans would say, thanks for bringing that memory up. They
Yeah,
don't want to hear about that.
And that was, I think it was only Georgia's favored by maybe one in that game. And so you think about all these years, there's been 2 times that another team has been favored. That's crazy. But in both of those moments, Saban has had incredible game plans and then rallied his team around it. I expect the same thing. Listen, Alabama did not look good at all last week. And I think if you think that they're going to show up again playing like that, then you're underestimating one of the most talented teams and best coaches in history. I think they'll show up ready to play. But I also think Georgia has probably the most complete team in the country from top to bottom, playing at such a high level. And I really think the difference in this game is what style of play is going to happen early. Is if Georgia gets a lead, can it be ground and pound defense, get after the quarterback? If Alabama becomes their style of play, can they spread it out? Can they use their weapons on the outside? And then can they put Georgia and Stetson Bennett in a place that they've never been, behind in a game, having to throw the ball? And I really think that, styles make fights. And the last couple times these teams match, it was a similar style and a similar fight, right? They almost mirrored each other. I'm excited about this game because they're totally different. You're seeing even their defenses that used to be the same scheme has changed, and Kirby's changed a lot of his schemes, and so it's going to be fascinating. I really think this will be one of the most fun championship games that I'm probably looking forward to this one the most since I probably played in it.
Wow. As a quarterback, what would you like to see from Stetson Bennett on Saturday?
That it might not just be a time where I can be a game manager, I might need to be a game winner. And there's a difference. And he has done everything he's needed to do. And I don't think he gets the credit he deserves. But in this game, if Alabama, Bryce Young, Jameson Williams can make a few plays, can he answer it? Because I think he's got that in him. But this would be that stage where all of a sudden you're called on to not just, hey, manage this, get it to the right guy, make a play with your leg, but to go win it. I think he has it in him. And if it comes down to that, I would be excited to see what happens.
A lot of the attention's on Jameson Williams, John Mechie, Alabama's skill position players. Can you kind of compare? Georgia's got a ton of skill position players that are super talented themselves, and Brock Bowers, you got George Pickens back. Can you kind of compare them?
Yeah, it'd be different if George had been playing, and maybe he's got more reps in practice than we've been able to see. And I think that's where I'm going to be looking in warm-ups is every time he runs, he jogs, he does A skips, B skips, whatever. How healthy is he? Because he is a matchup nightmare. Just to be able to have someone 6'4", that if they go one-on-one, you can have a good matchup that you like. I think that's huge. I think Brock Bowers is also huge, because how much Georgia wants to establish the running game. If you can get him matched up on a linebacker, people don't realize he's one of the fastest players on Georgia. Like when you look at their numbers of their speed, Brock Bowers almost every single week is one of their fastest. That's crazy. You don't have a tight end that is outrunning your receivers in miles per hour. I think that's really unique. I still think in the as far as being a lead at the skill position, receivers, I still think Alabama, Jameson Williams, John Mechie. I haven't seen anybody really cover Jameson all year. He's so dynamic, and that's going to be fascinating. That who could really be able to find a way to take advantage of those matchups. It goes down to game plan, coaching, and then for Alabama, can you protect Bryce Young against the defensive line and the blitzes from Kirby? Something they didn't do last week against Auburn. I think that's something I'm going to be looking for, especially in the first few drives, is can the no huddle kind of slow down Georgia a little bit, or is it just going to be able these big physical defensive linemen going to be able to get after him? Because I would say last week Alabama's offensive line was one of the most vulnerable they've probably been in 12, 13 years. So it's going to be fun to see kind of what gives.
Kind of going off of what you guys were talking about with Stetson earlier, You said you think he has that in him. Is that something you think you're going to see tomorrow night?
Well, first of all, are we going to need to see it? And then if we do, it's hard to be able to rise to those moments. Like he's always been underrated. He's always been, just he's, you got to go to the other guy. Got to go to the other guy. I think he's probably inside, he's a great teammate, nice guy, but inside he's like, listen, I've done everything I can do, to show you that I can be this guy, and I think this is just that next step if he has the moments to be able to take it. And it might just be 3 or 4 plays, making a guy miss, hitting a pass down the field, scrambling. I think I don't know what it is now, but I know a couple of weeks ago, me and Jordan got in a debate about it, and back then he had the 3rd highest QBR in the country. Like, nobody says that. And I just think it's important to give people the respect that they deserve, and I think he's deserving of respect. Now, can he take the next step from being a good quarterback to elite? That happens in these games. Awesome. Thank you, guys. I appreciate it. Nice to see y'all.